Here is Trump responding to this yesterday, 1174.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis?
Right.
Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
Do you see how calm Trump is? You know what I noticed about him immediately? So he's being asked this question. Now, whether he actually knows what this is. First question, Ed, do you think Trump was already aware of this and was playing like he didn't? Or do you think he was genuinely sideswiped by this and hadn't heard of this until this reporter asked him?
I think he knew about this going into this event. Yeah.
So he was playing possum with him a little bit. Okay. Now, did you notice when he got very, very calm and he said, yeah, is that right? Well, I don't trust the Atlantic, first of all. I think they're garbage. But second, okay, what'd it say? Specifically what? Trump's gotten very sophisticated and smart this way. He doesn't just take face value questions anymore. He says, I want you to explain to me very specifically what was in it that you object to. Tell me specifically what was said. This guy didn't know. He knew what Goldberg reported, which is exactly why I started the show the way I did today. What do you and I know about it? What Goldberg's allowed you to see at The Atlantic. And I guess he's taken some screenshots of it. No, I have not read his piece. But I know he didn't release the day. And let me ask you this, while we're on it. If Goldberg is such a patriot, and I saw some people actually saying what a patriot he was, let's just say for some reason, I don't know, Fast Eddie, you're on some kind of national security text chain or email chain. Do you sit with it for a couple of weeks and write a story about it and alert the country to it after you've absorbed a couple weeks worth of information, or do you deal with it right away if you're a great patriot? Serious question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I would deal with it right away. I don't even know. I'm not a journalist, but I don't know if being in that position, I would even go to print with a story about it. I might turn it over to the authorities to be like, hey, this is bad.
Yeah, and I want to be clear here as a journalist, and you make the point. Goldberg is a journalist, I guess. Okay, so when journalists are accidentally allowed information that they shouldn't have been allowed, do you wear your journalist hat and say, ooh, I got a scoop here. I'm going to ride this thing and see how far it takes me? Or do you go, yikes, I'm privy to stuff I shouldn't be. Hey, fellas, you included me in something I shouldn't see. What do you think a journalist's responsibility is?
I think that they should alert the government right away. And I hate to say it sounds authoritarian, but I think they should alert the national security people right away that they have it.
And then write the story if you want. But as I understand it, Goldberg was sitting there monitoring this for days, if not weeks. True?
True. Yep.
So what does that make him exactly? A hero? So he hid in the weeds, copied on messages that he shouldn't have been copied on in theory, read them all, supposedly documented it all, although you and I have not read them all, then gets to characterize all the communication in a nice write-up a couple, 3 weeks later. And he is doing a great service to us, his fellow Americans, because he hid in the weeds and wrote stories in secret about things he shouldn't have seen. And he's the hero, and Hegseth and Walls are the dunces and the scumbags. Have I got that right? Sorry, here again, I don't accept the framing. I just don't. We always do this. We accept the left's framing of a story. I don't accept the framing.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.